Hello and welcome back to SkizzleCraft, everyone. I am Anne, also known as WhitexBlackRose across the internet. It's been a while. Long story short, my computer did a naughty and all of my audio was corrupted for this episode. So you get to have voice over me for today. So to go back to October, which is kind of weird because it's December, I did meet my deadline that I set for myself for the Ancient City Arena. I was done quite literally 2 minutes after midnight on the 31st. So, yay. But as I said, my audio got corrupted for my episode, so I've been arguing with it. Now, to kind of go over this footage, because I'm going to have gobs of clips running right now as I'm talking, there were some really big goals that I had for the Ancient Dark before I put it in sort of a test play mode for server mates. I wanted to do more decorating in the houses. I wanted to add a government building and a place for the dead, which we'll talk about towards the end. And I wanted to break up the flatness of the ceiling. Several problems with that one, but I'm going to put a pin in it. None of these things could be accomplished without me finishing the boardwalk around the entire ancient city. So once I built my evac tunnels to make my fast escapes from the wardens, before everything was made Anne-proof, Rosie-proof by Odin, I was just hovering around, I tried to stay at 50% up the wall for the majority of this. And I had lots of unhappiness. Lots and lots of unhappiness, because I thought I was high up enough that wardens could not eat my face. I was proven wrong. I also discovered one evening when I was introducing the second part of the boardwalk, which was, breaking up the flatness of the roof, that there's another cave on top of the ancient city. And it was loaded with shriekers. I have not gone to find where it is or how to get there, but I swear I placed one block and 3 shriekers went off above my head. And when you're 50 blocks above the floor of the ancient city, no wings, no armor, no feather falling boots, just night viz potions, blocks, and food, you panic. You really panic. So that then leads to what I did to break up the roof in one area. Might become 2. I'm deciding to go back and do a few tweaks to this arena, but it's not going to be super major. So to kind of give the story of this, I found out in Java I could have an entire world set to one biome. So to try to play around with my ideas in creative mode, I decided to do that. I made an entire world as an ancient city biome, and I started playing around. The more I played around, the more I realized, oh no, fossils on the ceiling look cool. How am I going to build this in survival? So far, there's only one fossil. It is a rib cage that has lava running through it, of all things. I did a combination of lava and red glass, and the lava then goes into a pool, which, fingers crossed, somebody panic falls into it when they're running away. Creating hazards here. And eventually I will finish the big hole that I started in the ceiling. So that central monument point in all ancient cities, that big fireplace looking thingy, I took the coordinates for it. I went to the top of the mountain and I started digging. I dug way too much before I realized, oh duh, I can do this with moss. So I have a tiny hole there. I'd like to expand it to make it look either like it's the excavation hole for archaeologists and such, or make it look like a natural sinkhole over time. I don't know what the final decision will be, but I want to create a big enough hole, and I want to put a few e-chests there so that if somebody finds that spot and they've been lost, they know a way to get out. I have had too many server mates get lost in my base that I am creating these holes all throughout my base for easy evacuations so that people are not stuck underground for several days like last time. So, with the ceiling addressed, let's talk about the decorating. So one thing that I wanted to do to simulate life, like sort of a Petra feeling, or Pompeii, was to create houses that were sitting in time. You know, time was put on pause. Now, thankfully, Servermate has a plushie shop, and I have, in full honesty, been stocking that shop and buying up everything that looked like it could be a toy or food or something that simulates life. I had also been running around the world or just sat out in the open waiting for wandering traders to show up. And I bought a lot of very weird mini blocks that looked like they could be toys. And I started, sprinkling them throughout these houses in different areas, as well as trying to make a wide variety of houses. This one is 1 level, this one is 2 levels, this one's a bit extravagant, this one's a bit modest, stuff like that. And along with that, I did a lot of working with terracotta, which I've never done in Minecraft before. So that was very fun, thinking up, the floors, the walls, things to make it look like you've actually walked into someone's little abode, but to also make certain elements of it look aged, decayed in a way. After I was done with the houses, I went back to digging. So of the buildings that I had on my checklist for this build, I wanted there to be some type of government building. Something that could be built on a grand enough scale that it felt grand, but really was just me BSing it. So I chose the flattest part of the wall that needed something to break it up. I had already put one house to the right of the building, and there was going to be sort of a little nook in the wall where people would buy food or drink or whatnot. Again, thinking of how the Romans did things, they did have fast food equivalents, so I decided to make my own. And what better place than having it near a government building? So I dug, and to be entirely honest, I finished this government building in 2.5 days, I think. Time flew fast because I was watching a Let's Play of a game that I might be recording in the future. So I dug out a ginormous square, and then I put a staircase in, digging down, and then I did the roof, or the ceiling, I should say, because there's no roof when you're building inside a wall. I got my math wrong. By the time I realized I was committed to the build. But essentially what we have with this is some type of courthouse where there's a little nook inside it where you would have like records or scrolls or something. I'm going to see if I can get something with armor stands to create scrolls out of the bamboo block, because I had figured out in the library on the other side of the ancient city that bamboo with the right accent blocks to serve as a bookend does look like scrolls. So that's on my to-do list for the future. Now, the last thing that I wanted to get built before, opening this up for test play was to finish the mausoleum, which is technically not the mausoleum yet. Right now it is just the crypt. So in my exploration and building in the ancient city, there were lots of little nooks and crannies that I didn't realize were there. One of them was this weird little cave that just dead-ended. So I thought to myself, okay, dig out a square, build a little sarcophagi in the middle, end of story, and build some little nooks and crannies for people to hide. With the knowledge now that the next ancient city is roughly 50-70 blocks away from the one I was working on, in the future, to create kind of like a, updated difficulty version, I'm thinking that I'll expand on the crypt to make it a mausoleum, and then put some redstone door goodies that open up a secret path to this other city. It's not safe yet, seen by the fact that many a warden has been spawned, but that is a possibility once I get some of the other arenas done first. And I was juggling them while doing this, so hopefully that will be figured out soon. I did do some more stuff in the main area with the tavern, mostly creating a tower, finishing up the root structure in the ceiling, and then trying to tidy up the stable. I'm still slowly tidying stuff up, and eventually I need to get the skelly horse down into the stable for the inside joke I have. And I will be creating a bubble vader because too many people have been intimidated by the long climb up with the scaffolding. I'm going to be digging that area out a little bit more for the entryway. But first, I got to get rid of some streakers, so I guess I can go do that. Nah, let's go do a castle. See you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.